Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's me Dheeraj here. So today I'm going to explain the SQL from basic to advanced. So in this session I will try to explain all those fundamental things which are related with the SQL here. So if you are a fresher or if you are a working professional or if you explicitly want to excel your career in data engineering, I strongly believe this SQL session is basically designed for you. So be patient, and I will try to cover all those aspects, whichever be with the SQLs here. So this is basically the today agenda, like what we are going to discuss in this session here. So I've like total 20 points I am going to explain. So in the first one, like what is SQL, then after what are the data types which is used in SQL, what are the DDL commands like create, alter, drop, truncate, these are the DDL commands. Then after I will explain the DML commands as well, which is insert, select, update or delete. After that, I will try to explain the where clause, how we are using and or not in the SQLs, how like in which manners we have been used. We are basically using the order by clause. Then after I will try to explain the limits as well. Aggregate functions we are frequently using in SQL, so I will try to explain that portions as well, which comprises of count, sum, average, mean, max. These are basically the aggregate function. Then after I will show you like what's the difference between the group by and the order by. Or after that I will try to explain the or differentiate between the where clause and having clause as well, like in which cases we are basically using where clause, in what cases we are basically using having clause, what is basically the difference between these two. Moving forward, I will try to explain the joins as well, which comprises of all those joins like inner join, left join, right join, full join, and cross join. Fine. In the last sections I will try to cover some advanced portions as well, like subquery, views, indexes, stored procedure, transactions, then after database normalizations. And at last, I will try to explain like why this SQL is basically important for DevOps and what are the terms that we have to keep in our mind. And and last is basically this advanced concept related to that SQL part. So in this session, like I have basically structured this session from basics to advanced. Like I truly started from scratch, like how we are basically creating a database, how we are basically creating a tables, how we are inserting data in the tables, how we are trying to fetch those data, how we are doing the modifications in the data. So these are basically the basics of the SQLs here. Fine. After that, we will move some intermediate portions like how we are using group by, having clause, join, subquery. Then after, I will try to move some advanced concept as well, like stored procedures, indexes, transactions, normalizations. Fine. So I will make sure like please be patient and try to learn the things, and please do practicing aside by me as well, so that the things will get you will get clarity on these topics here. So if you want practice, I don't believe like you will get a good exposure to these skills here. That's why practicing is something which is really going to be very important. So you should have to do a practice from your sides as well. I will try to explain each and everything, but it's your duty to do it practically. Okay. So without wasting so much time, let's proceed to the sessions here. So likewise, firstly, I will start like what is SQL, like why we are using this SQL here. Fine. So what is SQL here? So SQL, like SQL full form is basically a structured query language. Fine. What is SQL? What is the full form of SQL? It means structured query language. So what it is? So SQL is basically we used to store, retrieve, update, and manage data in a relational database. Fine. It means what we are doing, we have so many database systems are there, out of which one is relational database systems are there. Fine. Inside that relational database systems, we just have to store the data, we have to retrieve the data, we have to update and manage data. It means whatever the manipulations or things we are doing with the data, it can be carried out with a language which is known as the SQL. That's why it has been mentioned like the full form of SQL is structured query language. It means with the help of this, we are basically trying to query those data, and we are basically trying to do modifications in those relational database management systems. some common databases are used in DevOps or in real world area, which is like MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle database, Microsoft SQL Server, and SQLite. But in these sessions, I will try to I will do practicals on the MySQL's workbench. So if you are practicing aside by me, you have to try it from Microsoft MySQL workbench as well. If not, then you can try other workbench as well, fine. And I will try to explain it in command line interface as well. So in the both manner, I will try to execute the query and will let you know like how things are happening. So I will give you a recap like how the things are happening. Let us suppose if you have a table employee, and inside these are basically the columns here: ID, names, roles, and salary. And inside that we have basically three columns, like three rows are there. The first rows Johns are there, second rows Ellis are there, and third rows Rahuls are there. So these are basically the data which has been fed in the tables employee. Fine. So whenever we are creating something, firstly we have to create a database. Inside the database, we have to create a table. Inside the tables, we have to feed or we have to insert those datas. Then we can do we can use select statement to fetch the data. We can alter the tables to do modification. A lot of operations we can do on those tables here. But one thing is that which is the primary thing is that firstly we have to create database. Inside the database we have to create the tables. Like that we have to follow the procedures here. So I will give you a recap of this like this. Let us suppose 1 second. I'm going to omit this part here. Now I've already told you what we have to do at first. Firstly, we have to create a database here. Fine. So let us suppose firstly I'm going to create a database here. I will give you a brief, I will give you a short recap like how the database is created, how the tables is created, how we are inserting data, and how we have been able to fetch those data. These are basically the basics here. So this is basically a workbench is there. So firstly we have to create a one thing that you have to kept in your mind like this. Basically MySQL is case sensitive. It means either you can write it in capital letter or small letter. It doesn't going to make any differences here. So firstly, we have to create a database. So for creating database, we have a create syntax is there, create database, and then the name of database. What we want to let us suppose if I want to create a database with the name DevOps here, fine. So this database, if you press enter, you just click on here, execute the commands. Executed successfully. Just see whether the database has created. Yeah, DevOps database is created. So once we have created the database, then we have to use those databases as well. It means we just have to select. It means from the moving forward, we are basically explicitly trying to use the database. That's why we have to use and then have to put those database names here. So whenever we are just execute it, it means we have selected DevOps. That's why it basically shows here in dark color. Fine. It means we have selected DevOps. We have created a database DevOps and we have used it. Now inside the database we have to create a table. So let us suppose I'm going to firstly create a customer table. So for creating a tables, what we have to do? These are related. Okay. For creating a tables, what we have to use syntax like create tables and tables name. Create tables, then tables name. If let us suppose I'm trying to give the tables name as customers, then we have to mention say as customers and create tables customer. And inside that customer, if I want to one column as ID and it should be of int type. Int is basically a data type here. So I will tell you like how it's working. Then the name, let us suppose name should be of varchar and it should be of Leland. Fine. Only these two are fine. ID and name. These two. And I am going to create those tables here. Right now, there is no tables are there. Fine. So once we create it, just click on execute. It means if you observe, create tables executed successfully. Now click here. Now see inside tables customers are there. Fine. Inside customer columns are there. Inside columns are ID and name. Fine. Foreign key we have not mentioned. The columns it means ID or name. So table has been created successfully. Fine. Our customer tables has been created successfully. Now, if I am executing the commands like select star from customer, it won't show any output here because we have not inserted any data inside that tables. Just try one time like select star from customers. Select a star from customers. Just click on execute. It means, yeah, schema is there, like ID is there, name is there, but there is no data. Fine. It means we have successfully created the tables, but we have not inserted data. That's why in this select statement, it doesn't fetch any data here. Fine. Okay, no worries. Firstly, I'm going to insert some data here. How we are inserting? We have to insert data with a syntax like insert into and the name of tables here, customers. Insert into customers. Then after what I want to insert ID and name. Fine. And the value should be like for ID and name. First value I am putting ID as 101. Fine. And name should be something like Paul. And in the second, like I am for the second rows, I am putting ID as 102, 102, and name as Alex. Fine. It means we are going to insert those datas. I will try one more. I will try with one more columns like ID is 103 and name is David. Fine. It means I have inserted three rows here. Just click on here and press here enter. It means three rows has been created. How we can check? We just have to use select a star from customers and click on execute here. It means just see we have three rows. 101 ID, Paul, 102 Alex and 103 David are there. It means this is how we have basically created a table. Firstly, what we did? Firstly, we have created a database. Then after we have used the database. After that, we have created a tables here. Fine. This is basically the syntax for creating a table. Columns name and the data types of particular columns name. Fine. So create tables, then the name of tables name, ID int name varchar. This syntax is basically to create a tables. Once we have been able to create the tables, we have to insert data in those tables. That's why for inserting data into the customer tables, we have basically inserted three rows here. The first rows of which consists of the 101 ID and the name is Paul. For second row 102 ID, Alex is basically the name, and the third one is 103 ID and David is name here. Fine. And with the help of select statement, we have been able to get those data in the tabular format. Fine. Okay. Same thing we can do on terminal as well. Fine. How? Command line interface as well. How we can do? I will tell you. Firstly, we have to, okay, I'm going to drop this. For dropping the tables and database, what we have to do? We just have to use drop database drop database and the name of database here. Fine. Firstly, before dropping, I will tell you like how command line interface is working. So this is my WSL is there. So I'm going to log into that MySQL here. So for that we have to use here my sudo MySQL -u user is root and have to put here password. Fine. I'm giving password here. Press enter. Enter password. Why it's not working? Yeah, I've been able to log into the MySQL. Fine. Now I'm going to use show databases, like how many databases we have had. Show databases. It means we have check how many databases we have. We have basically five databases. This performance schema, MySQL information schema, and DevOps. Out of which DevOps we have just created it. Fine. I will tell you like how we can use in the same manner like we already have a database, so we can use those database here. It means if you observe it, database change. It means right now we are basically using the DevOps database. Now I'm going to use show tables here. It means how many tables are inside that DevOps database. It means we have only one tables, whichever we have just created customers. Fine. If I want to fetch those data like what are the number of rows we have in those customer tables, we just have to use select star from customers. Fine. Just see. This is basically the data like ID is there, name is there. ID 101, name Paul, ID 102, Alex 103, David. That's how we can do it in terminal. Okay, what we are doing, we are basically trying to firstly drop those database from here. Drop this database into it means we don't have DevOps database. Fine. Now I'm checking from here terminal. I'm going to use the same command select star from customers. It means it will throw error. It means unknown database. Now I'm using show databases there. We are show databases. Show databases. It means if you observe the output here, there is no DevOps database. It means as we have dropped the database from here, workbench, that's why it wouldn't show here. Fine. Now I'm going to create the same tables and database from the scratch from the CLI. Okay. Oh, I think clear enough. Okay. What we have to do? What we have to do? Firstly, I'm going to create it. Create the show database. It means no devs database are there. We have to create here. How we are creating? We have to use here create. Then after you have to put database here. Create database and the name of database like DevOps enter. It means query okay. It means our query executed successfully. Fine. Now just show database. It means DevOps is there. Now we have to use it. Use DevOps here. Press enter. It means database changes. Now if you are checking, do we have any tables inside that DevOps? Show tables. No, we don't have. It's an empty set. It means we don't have any tables. We have to manually create it. Fine. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to create a tables. So for creating a tables, we are basically using create tables, then the table name customers, and inside that we have to mention here like ID. ID it should be of in data types, and then after name it should be of varchar, and I'm going to put this. This is fine. And at last, I'm going to press semicolons here. It means we are basically trying to create a tables here. Create tables customer ID int this. Just press enter. It means our query executed successfully. Now check, do we have any tables here? Yeah, we have customer tables. If you have customers tables, just check whether do we have any rows inside that customer table. Just use select a star from customers. It means it's an empty set. It means we don't have any data inside it. It's an empty set. It means we manually have to fit the data. It means we manually have to insert data. For inserting data, what query we are using? For creating tables, we are using create tables, tables name, then ID int name varchar fine. For okay, for inserting data, what query we have? We have to use here into insert into. Then after we have to put tables name. So tables here is customers. So insert into customers. Then after what value we want to put? We want to put the value of ID and name here. Fine. And then values. As more values are there. After that, we have to mention like how many rows we want to insert. Let us suppose I am going to insert 4 rows here. Fine. Inside for inside first rows 101 and name should be Paul. P should be in capital because it's a name here. Paul. For second, I am going to use 102 and we can use auto increment as well, but while we are creating the tables, but it's fine because I'm going to make the things simpler here. Paul, then after we have to mention here Alex, and the third 103, and the name should be David, and the fourth I'm going to put 104, and name should be, let us suppose, Carlos. Fine, just press enter. It means if you if you observe it, our query executed successfully, 4 rows affected, records 4, duplicate 0, warning 0. It means we have been able to insert data into the tables. How we can verify? We have to use here select statement, select a star from customers. Just see. Whenever we are using select a star from customer, it means we have been able to get those data there. ID name, ID 101, Paul 102, Alex 103, David 104, Carlos is there. Fine. We can verify it from the workbench as well. At that times I have dropped the database now. Now I am not going to do anything. I just want to run this select statements here. See, it means select start customers. Yeah, DevOps has been created, but here we have to use those DevOps here. Uh, Fine. Now I am going to create use this. It means just see. We have been able to get those data there. 101 for Paul, 102 for Alex, 103 for David, 104 for Carlos. Fine. But at that times I have added only 3 rows. But from the command line I've added 4. That's why it's showing there as well. So from the both like from the workbench as well as from the command line we can do. So moving forward, I will roughly try to do from workbench here, but we can try with CLI as well. Fine. Okay. So these are basically the basics, like how we are basically creating those databases, how we are creating the tables, and how we are inserting those databases inside it. Fine. So that's basically a basic recap of like how these tables has been created. So moving to the SQL data types, we have so many data types are there. We have in data types there. We have char data types are there. We have date data types are there. We have float there, booleans there. All are there. Int it means whenever we have to store the integer value, we have to mention here in data types. Whenever we are trying to store the float value, it means some decimal points are there, 10.5 or something is there. We have to mention the data type should be float. If it is a case of true or false, it should be of Boolean data types. Fine. Date, it means we already have a date data types. And we have two, we have char and varchar. Char, it means it should be of fixed length. Like whenever we are creating a tables, and if you are mentioning something as a char, let us suppose if you are going to mention as one column as a gender, gender should be either male and female, and the character should be at mostly either M or F. Fine. So in those cases, our like the value is going to be constant. That's why in that case we are basically using char here. But varchar, it means whenever we are not sure like how many length the variable or data types is going to be hold. In that case, we are basically using the varchar here. So varchar, it means we have to put length here. That's why if you observe at the time of creating the tables, I have just used 100 length for varchar here. Fine. And if you are using that name and char 7, it means that name is basically going to store only 7's value. If you are putting 5 value only, then also it's basically the memory is going to be log for 7 characters. So that's how this char and varchar is basically using. Char, it means they are of fixed length. Varchar, it means they are of variable length. So that's how these data types are basically be used in the SQLs here. We have some example like create tables employee ID int name varchar 50 and salary int and joining date. So I will try to create these tables as well so that you get more clarity here. So I will try to use the command line here. So we already have if I'm using sort tables here. So tables here. It means we already have a customer table. Fine. Now I am going to create one more tables with the name employees. Fine. What I can do, we have to use here create, then I have to create tables, and then we have to put the tables name like employees. Then inside it, we have to put those columns here. The first I'm going to put ID here, which is of in data types. Then after name, which is of varchar. Either we can use varchar 2 also. Varchar 2 is just the extended version of varchar. So varchar, and in that we have to mention there length varchar 50. Then after I want to put some salary as well, which is of length, let us suppose int here. And I think I'm going to use the salary for float here. Float. Fine. After that, we have to, I'm going to create one more column as a joining date. Fine. And it will be of date data types. Fine. I'm going to create those tables here. Just press enter. It means our table has been created. Fine. How we can verify? We just have to use here show table. We can see employee has been created, but there is no data inside that employee. Just use select star from employees. It means you won't see anything. It's an empty set. It means we have not inserted any data inside it. How we can insert? We have to use here insert into, then after the name of tables here, employees, and values. What values we can insert? So for first, we are going to use here as 101 or 1001 something, and the name as Dheeraj here. Fine. And for salary, let us suppose I'm going to put a salary like, let us suppose 85,000 something. Fine. 80.000. This is fine. Then because it is a float tab, that's why I have mentioned here decimal value here. Then joining date, I am not going to put it. Otherwise, we have to put here joining date like let us put 2026 and 03/15 here. Fine. This is the first columns. Likewise, we can do insert second columns as well. I'm going to insert one more columns there, 1002, and at last this 1002, and the name should be, let us suppose I'm going to Rohan something, Rohan, and Sally I'm going to put, let us suppose 65,000 something, and for date let us put 2026/03, and let us suppose he has joined at, let us suppose 13. Fine. Just press enter here. Incorrect data value 208 from the column joining date at row 1. It should be written inside, it should be of D data types. That's why where the mistakes is. I'm not going to, let me have to check if you're not mentioning these things here, how it's basically take. I think it will take by default. Press enter. It means does not match the value count at row 1. It means we should must have to, one second. We have to we have to explicitly mention date here. And it should be written inside where the last is there. Here it should be inside the curly. It should be inside inverted commas. Fine. Now I think it will execute. Yeah, rows successfully. It means as it is a of date type, that's why it should be written inside inverted commas. Now just you select a star from employee. It means you have been able to get the result like ID, name, Sally, joining date, something. Fine. It means these two rows are, you can verify it from here as well. Like Control C in the same manner. I will do it for employee as well. For employee, we have to use this. Just see, the employee details has been shown here. Fine. So that's how this tables has been created and it's been used here. Okay. Now we are basically moving to the DDL statement. What is DDL statement? DDL, the full form of DDL is data base, like data definition language. It means it basically tells us the idea about the database structure. DDL full form is data definition language. It means when this command is basically used to modify the database structure. What are the structures? It means we can modify the columns here, we can modify the data types here, these things. That's why inside the DDL statement, we are basically creating those data tables. We are basically altering those tables structures. We are dropping those tables and we are basically truncating. It means whenever we have to delete all the record but want to keep the data structure like structure same. It means in case of truncate, all those data inside that tables is going to be deleted, but the schema remains intact. So these questions may frequently ask in interview as well, like what is the difference between drop, truncate, and delete? Fine. Drop, it means in case of drop, it basically going to delete all those content of the tables as well as the schema. But in case of truncate, it's basically going to delete all those rows, but the schema of the table, it means the column should be remain intact. But in case of delete, like whenever we are using delete, we should have to use where clause. If you are not using where clause, it means it's going to be explicitly deleting all rows here. Fine. So whenever we have to delete some particular rows based upon the where conditions, we are using delete operations there. So this is basically the difference between the drop, truncate, and delete. So in case of DDL statements, we will basically study about the create, like how we are creating the tables. I have already told you, create tables employee, ID int, name varchar 50, roles varchar 50, and salary int. It means here we can create a tables. Fine. Alter table, it means whenever we have created tables and we have to do a bit modification in it, how we can do. Let us suppose we have this employee tables. Fine, and I want to do a modification. It means I want to add some department. Firstly, I'm going to create those tables here so that these these tables I'm going to remove those from here. Drop table employees. Fine. It means our tables has been dropped. What I want to create those tables here. Create tables employee ID, name, roles, and salary. These things should be there. Fine. I'm going to use the like where we can do from here as well. Paste anyway and press enter here. It means our query executed create tables employee ID int name varchar this are fine. It means whenever we are fetching this, okay, select star from employee. It means it's an empty sheet. We have to insert some data there. Fine. And okay. Now what I want, whenever we have to alter the tables, this is basically the schema of the tables is there. I will show you like it's an empty sheet here. I will show you here like how we select a star from employee now. Fine. It means we have this schema ID, name, role, and salary. These are the columns are there for new tables. ID, name, role, and salary. Fine. What I want in first case, like in create cases, we have basically created a table. This is fine. This is already I have mentioned because in DDL commands, we will study over the create, alter, drop, and truncate. Create I have already mentioned. Fine. And before that, data types I already mentioned int, float, char, varchar, date. These are fine. From the DDL commands, I've already mentioned the create. Now I'm going to tell you how this alter command is basically be used here. Like here, observe it. Like whenever we have to alter this employee and I want to add some one more department there. If you clearly observe here we have four columns there. Fine. First is ID, second one is name, third one is role, and fourth one is salary. If we want to add one more columns, in that case we have to alter the tables. It means we are basically trying to modify the structure of the tables here, database structures. That's why this basically comes under the DDL statements or DDL commands, data definition language. So for altering tables, we have to use alter table and the name of table's name, add department and the data types of that departments. Okay, I'm going to use it on the here. What I want, we have to use it alter. Then I have to put the tables here. Name I have to put the tables names here. Then employees, alter table employee. What I want to add what department. I want to add department and have to put the data types of that particular columns as well. So the data type should be of varchar2 and it should be of length, let us suppose 50. Fine. Press enter. It means our tables has been modified. You can observe from here. If I am trying to fetch the select star from employee, execute it, you will get to know like one more columns has been added, which is department. Means what we did, we are basically modifying the structure of the tables. Fine, alter tables. So with the help of this alter now, if you want to delete those tables, we can use drop table and table that I already told you. Truncate, it means whenever we have to delete all the record, but the data should be remain same. In that case, we have to use here truncate here. So if I will tell you, do we have anything? Mm, do we have customer tables here? Yeah, data is there inside that customer tables. Fine. Now what I want to truncate the tables. Fine. Customer tables. After truncating, you will see all those data should not be there, but the schema should always be there. I will show you from the terminals here. For truncate tables, we have to use truncate table and the name of tables here. So truncate tables and the name of tables. What is the name of tables here is customers. Customers. Enter. It means our query executed successfully. Just check from here. Select a star from customers. If you observe it, a schema is there, but all those data has been deleted. Fine. Now I am going to put insert data from here and want to check whether that data is there or not. Yeah, now data is there. What I want now, I am going to use the drop tables here. Just observe the difference. In truncate, all those data is deleted, but the schema should always be there. Whenever we are using drop table, even the schema is going to be deleted. Customers. If I'm going to use the select star from customers, it means nothing is showing. It means everything is deleted. Fine. Table, this does not exist. Now table is there. Fine. That's how this alter, drop, and truncate is basically working. So that's these four are basically comes under the DDL statements. Fine. Now moving to DML statements. So inside that DML statements, we will study over the insert, select, update, and delete operations. Once again, give me 1 minute. I will have to drink water here. 1 second. I guess sorry for the interruptions. So for the DML commands like DML, what is the full form of DML is data manipulation language. Fine. It means in the DML portions, we will have to do more manipulations with those data. It means how we can do. It means here we are not going to do modification with the structure of the table something. We just have to do modifications. Like we should have to insert those data inside the tables. We should have to select like we should have to retrieve the data from the tables. We can update those data. It means we can update some portions. Like we can update some salary to something based upon the where conditions, and we can delete those also. These are basically four things are there that we will study in the DML commands like insert, select, update, and delete. Fine. Insert I have already told you, select also I have told you, but I will try to explain it one more times here. So from the like if you observe it, like I'm going to see do we have anything inside that employee.tables. It's a empty tables. It means we don't have anything. ID, name, role, department, nothing is there. Fine. How we can do? Firstly, I'm going to drop the tables here. Drop, drop table, and the name of tables here is employees. Fine. It means I'm going to drop the tables from here. And now I'm going to create the tables again. For creating tables, we have to use this here. Fine. Create tables employee. Control C. I'm going to create the tables here. It means our tables has been created. Now we can use the select statement. Check whether we have tables but we don't have any data inside it. Fine. Now we have to insert those data there. So I'm going to insert into employees values first John, second Alice, third Rahul. John Dev. So like this, I'm going to insert these values here. Inside those press enters, it means rows 3, records 3 has been inserted successfully. Now I have to check the same employee tables. Do we have some data inside it? Yeah, we have this. ID1 for John, the role is DevOps and the salary is 80,000 something, and then backend for 70,000, DevOps for something. Fine. Now, how I will like insert is okay. I have already told you how we can fetch. We have to fetch like select star from employee. It means we will fetch those data there from the tables. So select a star from employee. We have been able to fetch it. Fine. Then after we can apply some conditions as well. So whenever you are using select a star from employee, it means it's going to fetch all those columns here. But if we want to fetch only the particular columns from the employer or employees tables, we can use particular columns only. So select star from employees. Fine. It means it's going to fetch all ID, name, role, and salary all. But what I want to fetch only the names and the salary here. So what I have to do, we have to use here select, then I have to put here name, comma, salary, and from employees. When press enter, it means so we have been fetched these only. We can apply some conditions as well, like select name and salary from employee or something. Or I'm going to apply one where clause here, like select star from employees, where let us suppose I want to select all those rows whose role is day of here. Fine. Select a star from employee where role is equal to what? DevOps. DevOps. It's going to fetch only those rows which has role DevOps there. Fine. So likewise, we can do a lot of operations with this selected state. So select also done. Now we can update the data inside that tables as well, like how we have to update it. So if you clearly observe here, I'm going to use the select star from employee. This is basically a tables we have. Fine. We have this. What I want to update this. Let us suppose I want to update the salary of Alice to 90,000. Fine. How we can do? We have to use here update here. Update tables. Update tables. How we can do? We have to use here update. And one thing that you have to keep, like whenever you are using update, we just not explicitly want to mention here tables keywords here. We just have to use update and the name of tables. Update tables employee. This is incorrect. Update and the name of tables like employee. Fine. These things you have to keep in your mind. Update and the name of tables. Then we have to set something. What we want to set? We want to set salary to how much? To let us suppose 90,000. Fine. Where we want to set the salary to 90,000, where name is equal to Alice. Fine. It means what we are going to do. We are basically trying to update the salary of Alice from 70,000 to 90,000. That's why we have write a query like update and the name of tables like update employee set Sally is equal to 90,000 where name is equal to Alice. Just press enter here. It means our query executed successfully. Row matched one. Now I'm going to print the tables output. If you clearly mention previously the Alice Sally were 70,000. Now it has been changed to 90,000. So that's how you can update the tables. Fine. So in the first sections, I have tried to insert the content inside the tables. After that, we have tried to retrieve the content from the tables. And after that, I have tried to do modifications also like how we are updating the tables. It means how we are basically modifying the content of the tables with the set and where clause. Fine. Now the last one is delete, which is very simple. Like whenever we have to delete something from the tables, we have to use where clause. If you are not explicitly using where clause, it means it basically going to delete the complete tables data, all rows. Fine. These things you have to keep in your mind. So what I want, let us suppose if I want to delete those, and it's always a good practice that while you are using the delete statement, you should have to put like you should have to mention the primary key in where clause. It's like from the best practices. I will tell you like you have to use the primary key. Even if you are not using primary key, it will work. But from the best practices point of view, it's always good practice to use the primary key in the where clause here. So what I'm basically going to delete the all rows where ID is equal to 3. It means these rows is going to be deleted. How we can do? We have to use here delete operations here. We just have to use delete from the name of table's name, employees, the delete from employees. What I want to delete? I want to delete for those rows where ID is equal to 3 or 2. ID is equal to 2, let us suppose. Fine. Just press enter. Now just see. It means ID2 contents has been deleted. It means Alice data has been deleted. Fine. And if you are just using delete from the employees, just check everything like would be deleted. Nothing is there, empty set. But even if the schema would always be there, just I will show you from here. Employees, I have deleted this. Just see between the table has the content has been deleted, but schema is still there. So that's basically the difference between the drop, delete, and truncate here. I have explained so many times, so I think the things will get clarity here. Where clause, it means whenever you have to filter something based upon the conditions here. So I have deleted those things here. That's why I have to insert so that I will teach you how the things is happening here. Okay. It means we have these data. Fine. Now what I want, we want to we want to apply the where clause apart from this. Like let us suppose I will tell you, let us suppose I want to fetch the details of those employees whose salary is greater than 80,000. It greater than or equal to 80,000. So it was supposed to retrieve the data of first and third. Fine. How we can do? We just have to use here select statement, select a star from and the name of tables like employees. Fine. Select a star from employees. Then we have to mention here where clause here. Where salary is greater than or equal to how much? Let us suppose 80,000. Fine. Press enter. It means it has printed the 80,000. It means John detail and Rahul detail. If I'm doing a bit modification here, I am trying to put only the cell is greater than 90. It means it is supposed to receive only the third columns here. Fine. So that's how this select statement is basically working with the where clause. We can apply a lot of conditions here. Where some, yeah, I already told you with the roles. So that's why this is how the where clause is basically working here. And we can do a lot of operation like equal to, greater than, equal to, less than, equal to, not equal to, everything. Like not equal to also I will tell you like how this is working. Like let us suppose I want to fetch the details of those employees whose role is not equal to what? Backend. Fine. Just see. It means it has fetched the details of all those employees whose role is not equal to backend. It means it fetched the details of all employees whose role is DevOps. Fine. So that's how the things are basically be happening here. We can use these a lot of operators with those where clause here. These are simples like select a star from employee where role is equal to DevOps. We can use a and or a not as well. Like how we can use. I will tell you here. One second. Give me one second. Yeah, hi guys, I'm back here. So we were basically studying about the and or and not, like how we are using and or and not in the SQL operations. Fine. So I will show you from here. So we have the employee tables here. Fine. And inside that employee table, we have three rows. John, Alice, and Rahuls are there. What I want, if in first case I want to use the and operations like here, how we are basically using. Select, let us suppose I want to fetch the details of all those employees. Fine. Where where role is equal to day ops and salary is greater than 80,000. It means it will going to print only these rows. Role is equal to day ops. It means roles are day ops for two rows, but we are going to put one more conditions is there, which is salary is greater than 80,000. Fine. So where role is equal to, we have to mention here DevOps, fine, and salary should be greater than 80,000, fine. It means it will going to fetch the only third rows here. Why third rows? Because in two rows the salary is equal to 80,000, but here I have mentioned the condition like salary should be greater than 80,000, fine. If you are mentioning salary is equal to, then it's going to print that as well, fine. So here as is working. Now what I want to use the OR conditions here. Fine. It means let us suppose if I want to use OR condition like I want to get the details of all those employees where role is equal to day offs or role is equal to backends. Fine. It means either of the two conditions is true, it's going to be executed. Or it means at least one should be true. This one. It means it's going to print this or this. It's basically going to print the role DevOps as well as this backend there. So first condition is and, this is or. Now the third is not here. Not, I've already told you not equal to. In the same manner, we can try with not as well. We just have to use here select a star from employees where role is equal to backend. Fine. If you are running this where role is equal to backend, it means it going to fetch all those employees details where the role is backend. But we have to, I have told you where you have to put here, not here, where not role is equal to backend. It means it will going to print all those apart from backend. It means just printed DevOps here. Fine. That's how we can use and here or and not. Either use not in what or you use this as well. Both are fine. This. Both are fine. Empty sheet, neutral. Okay, we have to mention here. Oh, where? Okay, wait. I made a here. I have to mention here. Fine. Both are fine. So I've tried to cover these portions here and or a note. This has been covered. Now moving to the order by. So order by is basically it's a clause here. So what for what purpose we are using this order by? So order by is basically be used to sort the data. Like whenever we have to sort the data here, we have to use here order by. What I want, if you observe the if you observe the these tables here the data is not in sorted order. 80 here data is not in sorted order if you are considering salary here. First 80,000, then 70, then 85. If I want to sort the tables content by their salary, we can use order by here. How we have to use? We have to firstly use select star from employees. Fine. After that, what we want to use order by. So we have to use order by what? By salary column. Fine. Order by salary. And if you are not mentioning anything, it means by default it's going to order by in just press enter here. It means here the salary is basically be going to be sorted, or you may simply say in the ascending order. Why ascending order? It means if you are not mentioning anything, by default it going to be sorted in the ascending order 70,000, 80,000, and 85,000. But if we explicitly want to sort those salary in the descending order, in that case we have to mention here DESC. It means it should be in the descending order. Fine. Just see 85,000, 80,000, and 70,000. Fine. Here the salary has been order like it has been arranged in the descending order here. That's how this order by is basically working here. So this also done. In case of ascending, we have to mention ASC. Either you use ASC, or if you are not explicitly mention anything, by default it will sort in the ascending order only. So you just not have to worry about these things here. After that, I will try to explain the limit portion as well. For what purpose we are using limit? Limit is used like whenever we want to restrict the result. In that case, we have to use here limit. I will tell you like how it's basically we are using offset as well with the limit, but it's fine. Right now, here I will let you know how we are using limit. Here we have if I will tell you these things here. These things, it means here we have three content, fine. If I want to get the limit, if I want only the two rows, in that case we have to use limit here. Select a star from employee, limit two. It means we will supposed to get only the two rows here. Fine. Limit one, it means it is supposed to get one only. If you are doing limit three and offset one, just check what the result would be look like. It means we have limit 3 and offset 1. It means we just offset 1. It means we get the output from second and third. If you are using limit 3 and offset 2, it will gives us the third rows only. So that's how this limit and offset is basically working. So limit also done. Now move to the aggregate function. So for what purpose we are using basically aggregate function? So aggregate function is basically be used like whenever you have to do some calculations. In that case, we are explicitly using this aggregate function here. Calculation, it means these aggregate functions are count, sum, average, mix, mean, these things are there. Fine. I will tell you like how these things are happening here, like how this it's basically be working here. What I want, let us suppose I want the average salary of the employee and want to group by with their let us suppose roles. Fine. It means we have two roles, not DevOps and backend is there. What I want, firstly, I want to group by it with, firstly, I want to group it with the roles. What I have to do, we have to use here select, and I want to print that role only. And then after we have to, I'm going to use the, let us suppose if I want to get the average salary of the employee, we have to use their average, and this is salary here, average salary from employer. Fine. It group by what group by? We are going to group it by roles here. Fine. Just press enter. It means here we are basically getting two columns here. First one is role and the second one is average salary. Fine. It means this average salary is going to be grouped by in place of average. Firstly, I am trying with the sum here so that the things will get clear here. If I'm using sum, it means the both DevOps is going to be add one. That's why we are getting 1,65,000 for DevOps and backend for 70,000. Fine. It means one thing that you have to keep in your mind, like whenever you are using group by here, group by is always be applied on the columns, and in that there should must be aggregate function. So whenever we are using the group by here, it should must have at least one aggregate function here. Fine. So firstly, we are basically grouping it according to their roles, and after that, we are basically trying to get the sum of all those salary in each department. In DevOps, it basically get the sum of 1,65,000, and back only 70,000 is there, which has been mentioned here. Likewise, we can get the maximum salary as well. Maximum salary as well. So from the day offs, we have two salary there. From the day offs, 80,000 and 85,000. Maximum is 85,000. That's why for day off, the maximum salary is mentioned at 85,000. But for backend, only one salary is there, which is 70,000. Likewise, we can try with mean salary as well. So these all are basically the aggregate function. Mean salary from the day offs, mean is 80,000. And if I want to get a count of those salary, count of like here we are basically getting count. It means in count, it means let us suppose count as number of employee. Fine. Percent. It means in the role DevOps we have two employee. In the backend we have one employee. What I did, firstly I have used group by the role. Fine. As we have used group by the roles, that's why role is mentioned here. As we are using group by, it means there should must be at least one aggregate function. So I've used here count star. Count star, it means it's basically going to get the count of all those rows here. And I've used alias like in place of count star, it's going to print the number of employee. That's why here in place of count star, it basically printed number of employees. I've used alias as here. To select role count star as number of employees from employees, group by roles. This one is there. Fine. So that's how these things are happening, especially in context of this aggregate function. So whenever we are using group by here, after group by, like whenever we have to apply conditions here, so I will try with that average salary so that you will get the clarity here. Average salary, fine. It means average salary, this is fine, or you may simply say average salary. Yeah, this is fine. Average salary, it means this. What I want. After that, like whenever we have to apply condition, like I want to fetch only those details which has 70,000, which whose average salary is equal to 70,000, fine, or some greater than 75,000 like this. So whenever there is a need to apply the where conditions after the group by, so in that case, we are not supposed to use the where clause here. We have to use having clause here. So that's why at the beginning also I have told you what is the difference between where clause and having clause. So where clause, it means if you haven't used group by, it means we are good to use the where clause there. But whenever we have used the group by, and after that if there is a need to use the where clause, in that case, in that conditions, we are, or we should have to use the having clause here. Fine. So here we have to mention that having or where average of that salary should be greater than, let us suppose, 70,000 something, 75,000, 70,000. This is fine. Just press enter. It means it has printed this only. Why? Because here I have mentioned every salary should be greater than 70,000. That's why it's not printed back in here. So what is different between here? Here I have used having. So in place of where, like whenever after the group by, if there is a need to use the where clause, we are basically using having here. So if in any query having clause has been mentioned, it means there should must be a group by. Fine. So these small things that you have to keep in your mind. Okay. Moving to the next one. Moving to the next 11th topic. Say, having also I have explained 12th topic, which is joins here. Fine. So in the joins, I think session already gone too long here. 1 hour. Okay, 1 plus hour. Okay, fine. No worries. Joins, I have already told you, like joins, whenever we have to combine the tables, in that case, we are explicitly using the joins here. It fine. Let us suppose if you have two tables, employee tables and department tables, fine. In that case, and employee tables we have ID, names and departments are there, and department tables we have ID, like we have department ID and department names are there. Fine. One thing that you have noticed, like whenever we have to combine the table, there should must be a one columns which should be common in both. Here department ID is common in both, then only we can combine both tables. Otherwise, there is not possibility to combine those tables. We should have to use the Cartesian product in those cases. Fine. So how we can combine those tables? So in for combining the table, there should must be at least one column which is common in both. So we have basically two columns. The first one is employee, sorry, two tables. The first one is employee and the second one is department. In the employee tables, we have ID, name, and department ID. In the department tables, we have department ID and department name. Fine. Now, if you are using inner joint, it means it basically, I think I will tell you about the joins here. Joins in SQL. Yeah, just observe it, how this joins is basically working. This is this is like this is basically the inner joint. How this is inner joint? I will 1 second. Yeah, now fine. Inner joint it means which is common in these both. A is basically a first table, B is basically the second tables, and whatever the content are there which is common in both basically comes under the inner joint. That's why it mentioned in that select. Then we have to select the columns here from table 1, inner joint table B on A dot key is equal to B dot key. It means whoever those content are there which is common in both is basically going to print it with the uh, inner joint. Fine. This is basically case of inner joint. Then we have left joint and right joint. In case of left joint, only those details is going to be printed which is only in left joint. Right joint the same only in right joint. The same thing. Full joint it means it will consider the all. Fine. In the datas also I have to create those tables here. Then I will tell you. Very important. These things just removed from here. We have to create those tables. We don't have datas inside it. That's why I couldn't tell you, but I will tell you like how these things are happening. Let us suppose we have like in the let I will understand you how this query is basically be used here. select employee dot name department dot employee has ID name and department ID column. Fine. Department has department ID and department name. Fine. These things are get clear. Okay. Now what I want to fetch the employee's name here and department's name here. That's why I just mentioned here select employee dot name comma department dot name from employees inner join departments on employees or department ID is equal to department or department. Okay, one thing I will do, just give me 1 minute. I will have to create these tables here. Okay, just to give me 1 minute. I'm back here. I'm going to firstly drop those employee tables here. Okay. After that, what I want to create this one. I will tell you like how this what I'm trying to do. We have two tables. Department is there and employee is there. In department, we have department ID and department. That's why we have created a table, create tables department, department ID in primary key and department name. Fine. Insert into the department ID, department and values. The department ID is 1234 and the department name is HR, Finance, IT and Marketing. Fine. As far as the employee table is concerned, we have just created a create tables employee ID int primary key, names varchar, department int and foreign key. These things is very important. Like while we are basically considering the joins, we should have to. This is what is foreign key. Like I have foreign key. It means whenever a key is basically trying to reference the primary key of another tables, it basically considered as a foreign key. So we are basically making here department as a foreign key, which basically referring the department ID of the department key. Fine. It means if you clearly observe that department ID also has a department also has a department ID as a attributes and employee also has a department ID as a attributes. But how we are differentiating? In case of this departments, this department ID is the primary key, but in case of employee, this department ID is basically a foreign key, which basically referring the primary key of the department tables. Fine. That's how these things are basically be happening here. So employee, here we have inserted the data into the employee like ID, names, department ID, and these things are there. So I'm going to insert one by one. Firstly, I'm going to insert those data here, create tables, and trying to do departments here. 1 second. I'm going to create a tables here, create tables this, control C, and here I'm going to paste it. It means table created, department table created. Now I'm going to insert the data into the tables, department tables. So now data has been inserted. Fine. Now I will check select star from departments. Just see, we have data like department 1234 and the department name is HR Finance IT Marketing. These are fine. Now I am going to create employee tables as well. Control C and Control V. Press enter here. Employee tables has been created. Now I am going to insert those data inside that. Control C and I am going to paste here so that now just use the same. Okay, we have multiple select star from employees. In place of department, we have to put here employees. Fine. It means we have this employee ID, name, and department. What I want, if you clearly observe, these are basically the content inside that department ID, and these are basically the content inside that employee ID. Fine. And if you observe the department ID and column ID, both are common. Fine. So whenever we are using the inner joint here, in case of inner joint, I will tell you like how these joints are basically working here. In case of inner joint, only those data will be fetched which are common to those. If you observe here department ID is 1234 and here department 1234 like this. Fine. I will tell you how these things are basically happening here. So if you are mentioning select, then after I'm just trying to refer like employee as employee table add, I'm just going to use alias as E for employee and D for department. Fine. So select E dot what I want E dot name comma D dot 1 second D dot department name. Here the name of this DPT department name D dot department name. I want to fetch the employee name and department name and want to put a from employee from employees E fine inner join and then have to apply inner join on what on departments D fine on what condition on here we have to put conditions here E dot department ID is equal to D dot department ID fine press enter here. It means only those data are going to be fetched which are common in both. That's why Rahul is HR, Priya, Neha, Amrit, Sneha, and Rohit. These data has been mm, fetched here. If you are using left joins here, it means only those data will be fetched if you observe this one here. In place of inner join, just use left joins here. It means all those data has been here. Left joint, if you observe it, you may be amazed. Like here, Neha data has not been fetched here, and this marketing, this one, Rohit is there, Neha finance is there, and this one is there. It means all those are there which is in the first tables. Likewise, you can try it with right joint as well. Here there is no any like no any other department ID apart from 1, 2, 3, 4 other. That's why we are getting the same result every times here. Left, then after right here, right joint also the same thing. So with the help of this, you can simply use the joins here. These are very simple here. Okay, inner joint, left joint, right joint. These are fine. These have been discussed. Now moving to the subquery. This subquery is very important. Like subquery, it means whenever a query is basically be inside another query, in that case we are basically it basically we are basically calling it a subquery. Subquery, it means query inside a query. Fine. Like whenever we let us suppose if we want to fetch a name from the employee where salary is greater than the average salary of those employee, in that case we are basically using subquery. I will let you know like how this subquery is basically working. I'm going to fill the details of employee here. So select star from employees. Fine. Here, this is the basically the details of the employees there. What I want to get the name of those employees whose salary is basically greater than the average salary of employee. So firstly, we have to create a average salary of employee. So we have a command like select average salary from employees. Fine. It means with the help of this average salary from employees. Okay. We have to use here group by as well. Select, let us suppose I'm basically using here. Okay. Here salary. Oh, this employee is different. Okay. I will have to do one thing here. I'm going to drop the employee from here. Fine. And I'm going to use where our employee details are there. Let me have to go to here where it is there. 1 second. Create employer. This cell is there. This is fine. Just copy it and want to paste here. Fine. It means we have created this. Now we have to insert those datas as well. So in the insert sections, we have to insert those datas here. Control C and Control V. Fine. We have inserted datas as well. Now I am going to use the same things as well. Okay. Employer. Then C. It means the average salary is this one. Now fine. What I want to get the details of all those employees or only the names of all those employees whose salary is basically greater than this value. How many employees are there? Two employees are there, John and Rahul. How we can do? Either we can use with the help of like where clause, but here I'm basically using subquery here. How? I will let you know. These things are there. Now I'm going to get the details of select name from employee, fine, where salary is greater than what? Salary is greater than what? The salary is greater than the average salary of the employee. So these all query we have to put inside it. Fine. Control C and Control V. Now fine. That's why it basically we consider as subquery. It means here queries in here one query is inside another query. This query is basically be inside this query is there. Fine. That's why it's a case of subquery here. Just press enter here. It means here John and Rahul's names has been printed because their salary is basically we get another average salary of the employee. Average salary of the employee is 78,333.33, which is basically be less than the 80,000 and 85,000. That's why the details of John's and Alice has been printed here. John's and sorry, Rahul's has been printed here. Fine. So this basically comes under the subquery portions here. After subquery, we have indexes. Fine. Indexes. Like in which cases we are basically using indexes. Indexes like whenever there we have to handle the big tables there, and in those big tables, whenever we are basically trying to fetch datas, so like data, it will take a longer time to execute those datas. So to make the query faster, we are basically using indexing here. So firstly, we have to create an index here, and then we have to like fetch the data with the select commands here. So after indexing a particular columns, if you are basically trying to fetch the data, the query execution time will get diminished. If earlier it will take, let us suppose 30 seconds, then after the indexing, it will take 5 seconds or 7 seconds like this. That's why for performance increasing, for performance optimizations, we are basically using indexing here. That's why it's mentioned is here. Indexing makes query faster. SQL, how we are basically creating the index? We just have to follow the procedure like create index and the index name on employee and the columns name. It means we are basically trying to create the index on the salary columns. And this is basically the name of index here. Create index name on which tables we are trying to apply the index and what is the name of that particular columns here. It means we are trying to create the index on salary columns of the employee tables with IDX salary name. So this is basically the name of index there. So this is basically the syntax to create the index. Once we have been able to create, the query execution time will get shortened here. So that's why it's basically be used in the large production database. Like whenever there is a thousands of number of rows and we are explicitly used to run as some select query. In that cases, there is a need to use the indexing here. Okay. Next come views. Views are nothing, just a virtual table created by the query. What I want, like if you have to handle the multiple, like so many big tables, and we are explicitly using only few rows, or we are explicitly using the few columns only. In that case, what we are doing, we are basically virtually creating a views with those. So I will let you know like how we are basically creating views. In that case, I will let you know. So select star from employees here. Fine. It means we have this. What I want to create a view with a name DevOps employees in which I want to get only the name and salary from the employees where role is department. It means from these big tables, I want to get the details of only DevOps employees. Fine. That's why we want to create a views with the name DevOps employee. How we have to do? We have to, one second. We have to create a view first with the create, then after view, then I have to put the view names here. I'm going to put view names as DevOps employee, DevOps employees, fine, as what? Select name, comma, salary from employees, where role is equal to DevOps. So what I want to firstly create a view here, DevOps employee. I'm going to create a view with the name DevOps employee, and those view basically contain only the name and salary from the employee whose role is DevOps. Here, just press enter here. Query executed. Now we can check it with the same DevOps employees here. Just see, it means our view has been created. It's just a virtual table is there, fine, in which we have name and salary from that. Only two columns are there, name and salary. So that's how we are basically we can create a view here. After that, we have one more concept like stored procedure. So what is a stored procedures? Like whenever we have to reuse the SQL blocks of code, in that case, we are basically trying to create a procedures here. It means firstly, this is basically a syntax create procedure, get employee names, begin, select start from the employee and this, and after that we can call it. So SQL, like whenever we have to reuse the SQL block of code, like whenever we have to write a just like function, it's working. In function, what we are doing, we are basically writing, and whenever there is a need to execute those all set of codes, we just have to call those functions. In the same manner, stored procedures also work. Fine. It means we have to list all those select query or some other query, SQL query, and whenever there is a need to execute all those query, we just have to do one thing. Firstly, we have to create a stored procedure, and if there is a need, we just have to call it. Fine. So I will try to give you clarity on this as well. So first we have to create a procedure. So for creating a procedures, we have to create create procedure. Then after we have to put the procedure names here. So as we are trying to fetch the details of employee, that's why I'm trying to put get employees procedures names here. And after that, I'm going to put begins here, begin, then select a star from employee, select a star, select a star from employee. Okay, it will throw error. We just not have to begin select a star from employee and then after int. Fine. The space enter here. it will throw error at the time. One thing I have to try it from here. Let me have to check once here. Create procedure. Then after get procedure here. And then begin. Or it should be written as one fine. I'm trying to put here employee here. Employees, fine. Begin. Then after we have to put here select star from employees. Employees, fine. Then after end here. Okay, 1 second. Let me 1 second. I will let you know. Yeah, there is a bit it's need to have a bit modifications here. 1 second. Yeah. At that times, what I was trying, I was not using the delimiter here. That's why it was throwing here. So for creating this, we have to use delimiter here. As I already created, that's why it's throwing error. So now we just have to call it. Just it means whenever we are just calling this store procedure, it's been able to get those outputs here. So how this store procedure is basically working? Like whenever we have to run a list of SQL queries simultaneously, in that case we are basically creating a store procedure, and whenever there is a need to execute those all SQL queries, we just have to call those store procedure. That's all about the store procedure there. That's why it's mentioned here. It's basically we used to reuse the SQL blocks codes. Fine. Only thing that you just not have to forget that we have to mention here delimiter, especially in MySQLs. That at that time that I was forgetting at that times. So now moving to the transactions. What is transactions? So transactions is basically be used is basically transactions in SQL is basically a sequence of one or more SQL statement executed as a single unit of code. That's why for data redundancy, we are basically trying to use these transactions here. So for with these transactions, like it is also being used with the sequence of SQL operations, but only difference is that if one feels that we have a permission, like whether we can commit those changes or we can roll back to the previous one. So these basically features are there with the transactions are there with the transactions. So transactions usually contain the commands like insert, update, delete, and select. Select is basically optional here, but these with these commands, transactions can be used here. So it has the features like if all the operations succeeded, then we are going to commit it. But if any fails, then we are good to roll back this. Fine. We can take a scenario like we can take a bank transfer scenario. Like suppose you have to transfer, we have two accounts, fine, account A and account B. And what we want to transfer some, let us suppose rupees 500 from account A to account B. Fine. How it's working? Firstly, those 500 is going to be deduct from account A, and then 500 is going to be add in account B. There's basically two steps are going to be occur. The first step, it means 500 is going to be deduct from the account A, and in the second step, 500 is going to be add in the second step. Fine. If both operations work smoothly, it means we are good to commit those changes here. But if any fails, then it should we have to roll back it. That's why it's mentioned here. Both the operations must be succeeded. If one fails, the whole transactions must be cancelled. Fine. That's why it's very critical here. How we are controlling the commands here? So for a start the transaction, we just have to use a start transactions or begin. Fine. Both are fine. For commit changes, we just have to use commit here. Fine. I will tell you like how the whole things are happening. Firstly, we have to use a start transactions. Fine. Then in first cases, we have to deduct 500 from account A. It means we have to update the account tables. Updating what I have told you for update account tables for updating what we have to use the query update then the table name set balance is equal to balance minus 500 where id is equal to 1. It means we are basically deducting 500 from the id 1 and trying to add in the id 2 in the second account. Fine, that's what we want to do. So here we have used the same accounts here. That's why only difference that we are doing is we are trying to subtract the 500 from the employee whose ID is 1 and want to add 500 in those employee whose ID is 2. Fine. If the both works got succeeded, we are going to commit those changes here. Now the changes are permanent. But if like cancel all the changes made, like if it throws an error, then we will good to go with the rollbacks here. That's how this and after like whenever we are mentioning rollbacks here, it's basically going to undo the changes here. It means if the 500 have been deducted from the first account, it's going to revert back to the previous state. That's how this transaction is basically happening. And the third one is the first one is commit, the second one is uh, rollback, and the third one is save point. So in case of save point, what we are doing, we are basically creating a checkpoint inside the transactions. Fine. So like this is basically a whole query is there. Firstly, we have to mention the start transactions. Fine. Then in first cases, we have to update the employees table. Let us suppose if in this case, what we are doing, we are trying to increase the salary of employee to 1,000. Fine. In first case where id is equal to 1 and in the second case what we are doing we are trying to increase the salary of the employee to 2000 where id is equal to 2 and between these two we are basically creating a save points here. Fine. So if we are creating a save point sp1 and after that we have used the second update operation, so whenever rollback is basically be used it basically roll back to the first one is fine. That's why it's mentioned a rollback to sp1 and then we are going to commit it. So that's why these three are basically be used in the transactions here commit rollback and the save points here. Fine. Okay. The next one is data normalizations. This is like for data to reduce the redundancy, we are basically using this. Data normalization is the process of organizing data in a database to reduce the redundancy. It means duplicate data to improve the integrity. It divides the larger tables into the smaller related tables and connect them using the key. So why this question is very frequently asked, like why we are doing the normalization. So with the help of this normalizations, we are basically here it's been we are basically breaking the big tables into the small related tables to improve the duplicate and maintain consistency. That's why if you have to handle with the big tables then it may be a tedious task. So what we are doing, we are basically breaking the big tables into the smaller tables to remove the duplicate. Fine. That's why for data redundancy, we are basically using the normalizations operations here. So the first condition is like why normalization is used. It means to remove the duplicate data, to ensure the data consistency and make data efficient and organized, improve update and insertion operations. So whenever the data is organized, then we are good to use the other operations like insert and update on those SQL queries. Fine. That's why there is a need to have a data normalizations. It has basically three forms. The first form is 1NF, it means first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. First normal form, it means they are talking about the atomic columns normal are there. Second normal form, it means it just removes the partial dependency. In case of third normal form, it basically removes the transitive dependency. First normal form, it means each column must contain the atomic values. It means they should must have an atomic value in each columns are there. Fine. No repeating groups are here. If you clearly observe that this is basically a tables is there, ID is there, name is there, skills are there. Here ID 1 is mentioned, here name John is mentioned, here skills Python and SQL is mentioned. If you clearly observe that it's not in one normal form. Why? Because one Jones has Python and SQL both skills are mentioned here. But according to the first normal form, it should have the atomic columns. It means there is not atomic. Two things are there in the skills. That's why we have to convert it into the first normal forms like this. ID 1 John Python and SQL. So this is basically in the first normal form. Fine. Then in the same manner, we have to proceed. Second normal form, it means the table must be in first normal form. So whenever we are basically trying to put some tables into second normal form, the prerequisite that it's basically going to follow is it should must be in first normal form. And after that, no partial dependency. It means every non-key element depends on the full primary key. Example like separate employee and department into the different tables. These things are like I'm not going to go deeper in these sections here, but just go a deep dive like how these things are happening. The in first normal form, it means we are basically talking about the atomic columns. In second normal forms, it basically removes the partial dependency. In third normal form, it basically removes the transitive dependency here. Examples are also mentioned in case of, and in the I have already mentioned to make the tables in the third normal form, it should must be in the second normal form. Fine. Examples I mentioned like instead of storing department name with the employee, create a separate department tables. That's how this normalization is basically be working. Like we should have to ensure the data integrity and we should have to duplicate those data here so that we have been efficiently trying to do a data manipulations operations on the tables. So that's all about the data normalizations here. Moving forward, we have some like SQL for DevOps. These are some real cases out there. Like while we are monitoring logs, we have to check like select count star from the application log where status is equal to errors. Like how many errors are there? So these things you can mm, you have to perform like while we are working with some logs here. In CI/CD pipeline, you just have to use like is there in a status in the builds like field for that select star from build where a status is filled. Deployment tracking like select version and deployment add from deployment where order by department descending. It means we are just trying to sort it according to the deployment at in descending order so that the latest date would be appears at the top so that we can fetch. Last one is advanced SQL topic. So in case of advanced SQL topic, we are good to like I will try to explain the few concept here like which is very essentials. In the advanced SQL topics, we will study about the Windows functions here. Fine, Windows functions. Like I will tell you like how these things are happening. We already have an employee table now. Okay, I will try to mention the same things here. Select star from employees. Fine. Oh, why it's select star from employees. Do we have employees table? Let me have to check from here. Yeah, we have employee table. This is employee table. Fine. And why we want able to select star from employee? 1 second. Access denied. Oh, sorry. I'm extremely sorry. We have to put here username and password as well. Fine. No, fine. What I want, I just have to check like show databases. Show databases here. So databases, check yeah, DevOps is there. Okay, I'm going to use those databases here. Fine. Database changes. So tables. It is showing tables here. We have this customer department. These employee tables are there. I'm going to get the details of all those rows. I'm trying to retrieve all the rows from the employee tables here. Employees here. Yeah, fine. Now fine. What I'm trying to do. Windows function like whenever we have to like how Windows function is used. I will tell you like select let us suppose name comma salary comma let us suppose if I'm using rank function here fine. Then we have to use here over and from employees. And inside over we have to put order by like what conditions we are trying to apply. Order by order by shall descending. Just see what I have done. I want to create a like here we are basically using the Windows function here. It means we are just calculating the rank here. What I have done, I just use select name and salary and rank from the employee, and in the over inside that rank function we just use order by. This is basically a syntax for the Windows functions here, rank functions here. In the same way you can try with dense rank as well. So I will try to upload a separate video for the Windows function, but here roughly I will give you idea like how the things are happening here. So already the video like we have approx 2 hours, quite long. Okay. Here what I am trying to do, I am trying to do use it as a like let us suppose as alias as rank here, checking whether this alias is working here or not. Fine. Yeah, it's working like rank. What I've done? I've done like select name and salary and rank as rank from the employee, and in the hour function I just use order by salary descending. If you check this salary are in descending order, that's why rank has been shown here first rank second. It means first rank has been assigned to those whose salary is maximum. Second rank it means whose salary is maximum, second maximum, and third maximum, like this. It means this is basically all about the rank functions here. Then we have CT, it means common table expressions are there. How these common table expressions are working, I will tell you this. Let us suppose if you are creating a common CT like with, I'm going to use here so that you get a clarity here. I'm going to use here, okay, with with let us suppose high salary, fine, as what I want select star from employees where salary is greater than 80,000, fine, and I want to use select star from high salary. If you observe it, you may be amazed like how it's what the syntax of this here is. It's just like a tables here. It means what I did. Firstly, whenever we are running select star from employee whose salary is this, I will try to run it separately here. Control C and Control V here, and I'm trying to put here enter. It means select a staff from employee whose salary is greater than 80,000. It means it's going to print the roles details here. Fine. What I want to store these tables temporarily as a high salary. It means the name of this table is high salary. What and from the temporary tables, what I am trying to fetch all details. That's why just execute these codes here. It means you have been able to get the output here. Fine. So this is basically a common table expression is there. So with the help of that's how it's basically be working here. One second. So this is all about the CT like common table expression. So we have temporarily created the tables, and from that we have just fed the data here. This is the basically the syntax of CT is their common table expression. So up to this is it's fine. And the last one is like DevOps SQL interview questions. Like whenever you have been involved in the interview questions for DevOps, if they are asking the questions from SQL, they will ask questions like what are the difference between the SQL, like delete, truncate, and drop. I have already mentioned these things. What is index, like in which cases we are creating index? Like whenever we have to handle with the larger tables, we are good to make that particular columns as an index so that our query get faster. Fine. What is joins, like how we are using joins? What is normalization? In which cases we have to use normalization to remove the data redundancy, we are basically using the normalization here. What is transactions? In which cases we have to use transaction, and what is the difference between where and having clause? So these are frequently asked questions from SQL if you have been involved for DF's interview. So from till like I have tried to cover the things from basics here. So in this session, it's already 2 hour sessions here. So I'm not going much deeper here. But in the upcoming session, I will try to explain each and everything from in detail. So in this session, I have tried to cover this is basically a syntax. So and this is basically the today agenda that I have already mentioned at that times. So in these sessions, I have tried to cover the complete like SQL basics there from basics to advanced. I have tried to cover the DDL part, DML part, where clause and having clause, how we are using and or and not. Then after stored procedures, subquery, views, what are in which cases we are using transactions, data normalizations, and some SQL for DevOps and some advanced concept as well. So if you found any difficulties in these sessions, feel free to ask me. I will be glad to answer your query. And yeah, please do practicing these things in your bench or from in your like on your terminal so that the things will you will get a clarity on this SQL. So if you practice, then only you will get more clarity. So yeah, bye bye. Please stay tuned for the next videos. Till then, keep practicing and just go more deeper inside this SQL portions. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please feel free to subscribe to my channel as well because it takes a lot of efforts here. So if you're not subscribing, then you're subscribe like if you're commenting on my channels, if you're putting your effort, it just seems like a motivation for me. So please feel free to subscribe to my channels. And till then, please stay tuned for the next videos. Bye bye. Take care.